lots of good food for us to begin to get to know each other's cultures and to begin to recognize each other as neighbors and struggle together to get healthier neighborhoods in Fresno. So if you look, most everyone probably knows how to say the first language, Spanish. So let's all say together on the count of 3. Si se puede, okay? 1, 2, 3. Si se puede. All right. So the next language is Mixteco, and Fresno has a large Oaxacan and Guerreran population, and so this is, we can do it in Mixteco. So it's Cubiva. So you ready? 1, 2, 3. Cubiva. The next one is Hmong. And I don't know if you've looked at written Hmong before, but any consonant at the end of the word is actually a tonal marker, so you don't say it. So this one is Be Ua Tao. So I'll say it again. Be Ua Tao. Okay, one more time. Be Ua Tao. And then the last one is probably the hardest. It's Lao. Lao is actually a really beautiful cursive-y looking language, but this is our best English approximation of what it sounds like. So it's Men, Porkau had died. So Men, Porkau had died. So these are chants that we have used over the last 2 years to bring communities together to remember, yes, we can make change, yes, we can do it. And that's just some of the fun stuff we do. Fresno is currently kind of doing 3 plans at once to change everything. So there's a general plan going on for the whole city. There's a downtown neighborhoods plan for our oldest neighborhoods, and that's also the area that the BHC initiative is focused. So the areas right around downtown, right around where we are right now. There's also a Fulton Corridor specific plan, which is downtown, downtown, downtown. And so when we started our initiative over 2 years ago, most of the agencies had never looked at a plan before. But we did have experience organizing, and we did have long-standing connections with one another as organizations and connections with the communities we serve. So what we did was we had a lot of potlucks with a lot of different food and a lot of different cultural sharing. And we also we used the PICO model, a slightly modified model of PICO, which is People Improving Communities Through Organizing. And it kind of starts with one-on-ones and moves to research meetings and goes to action. Not incredibly unique, but it's exciting. We did over 850 one-on-one interviews with residents of South Fresno neighborhoods. So if you know Fresno, you can see kind of where we are. Here's the triangle of freeways. And then we got the awesome opportunity to present our findings. And what we asked, backing up. What we asked in those one-on-one interviews is if you had all the money in the world, what would you change about your neighborhood? And some follow-up questions to that too. And surprise, surprise, no one likes potholes. No one. No one likes not having sidewalks. No one likes not having curbs. So the biggest concern that 850, out of the 850 people that were interviewed was streets, maintained streets, and safe streets as well as a part of that. So we brought the mayor, we brought the 3 city councilmen of the district, of the neighborhoods that we were looking at, and we presented the results of these findings and said, hey, guess what? People actually want their neighborhoods to look nice. There's other issues with safety, there's other issues with education, there's other issues with access to park space, but above all, city, we want you to do your job in our neighborhoods. And so that was really exciting, but that was only the beginning. Our city manager actually said that that was the best community meeting he's ever attended, that he'd been invited to. So that was really exciting, but that was only the beginning. Then the city of Fresno started working, they decided to split their general plan up into 2 different sections. The first decision that our planning director wisely asked our city council to make is, how much do we want to grow? Do we want to sprawl out like we have been doing? Or do we want to maybe keep our boundaries a little bit? Or do we want to really focus on the inside? Do we really want to stop sprawling altogether and put most of the new growth on the corridors and within the existing city limits. I think a lot of people thought that that was like kind of pie in the sky, never going to happen, but it was nice that we even had the option in Fresno. But through an incredible planning director who is a community organizer at heart and is making incredible outreach all the time to so many groups across the city, and through some really cool technology that helped our electeds see that it was actually financially in their interest to not keep subsidizing sprawl, and through an incredible outpouring of community support, we were able to see City Council choose Plan A, which was the one where it did not expand our sphere of influence whatsoever, which was the first time in history that that's happened in Fresno. And there were 87 public testimonies at that event. Wow. Over 80 of them were in support of Plan A. In the beginning, the developers were standing up and saying, pick Plan E, which was their plan. The city didn't have enough sprawl in the fourth option, or the third option. And they said, we need sprawl on both sides, on the east and the west. It's not enough to just keep it in the west. But pretty much once they saw that wasn't going to work, they started saying, you need more time. You need more time. Don't make a decision. You need more time. So that's what those 7 testimonies were that were not in support of Plan A. And over a dozen of the testimonies were in languages other than English. Our collaborative was responsible for at least 30 testimonies that night, each speaking to different values. So because planning is so complicated and the maps are really pretty with all the colors, but that doesn't necessarily make sense all the time, we really chose to focus on values in making our decision making. So we picked 9 values and then used those values to kind of frame the decision-making process on which plan we wanted to stand behind as a collaborative and as a community. So we did a lot of popular education. I don't know if you can see this, using like Post-it notes to explain zoning and like, where would you put the houses? Would you put the houses next to the factory or not? Things like that. And like coloring and labeling and doing everything in 4 languages at once is really fun. But also really effective at making sure that everyone feels like they're on the same page together. And we did some evaluation focus groups afterwards, and pretty much what every focus group talked about was the amount of trust that was built between the different communities. Like one Hmong gentleman was talking about, like, I know these people now, like I know they're Hispanic, I know we don't speak the same language, but I see them on the street and I say, oh, this is my neighbor, oh, this is my friend. And kind of that always coming back together and always eating together really built a lot of community trust and a lot of community strength. And this is City Hall packed the first night. City Council did decide to postpone the vote 2 weeks, which we were a little disappointed about. But we were prepared. In the second week, there wasn't public testimony, but we all showed up with these green paper A's. And every time a new council person started to talk, we all just like raised our A, and they're like, oh. And some of the people who are most swayed by this value-based argument were the conservative votes on council. And like Larry Westerlund said it was the highlight of his career to see that many people come out. And
wow.
Mark Scott also said it was the highlight of his career, like in a separate conversation. So the last thing I wanted to touch on is we had this really great health impact assessment that we relied on a lot in making kind of technical arguments to our decision makers. But as we talked to community, one of the things for our grant was we had to do forums, but they're like, we already know that. We already know the reason we don't walk to the park is because there's not a sidewalk. I'm like, I know, but other people don't believe you, so we got to work on that. But here's a paper that says it's true. And next steps, we have a healthy communities element in our general plan, which we didn't think was going to happen. It still needs to be a lot stronger, but it's a start.